Well, congratulations for looking at this video and checking it out. Recently, we had a session where people were asking me, I brought up the idea of a thing called 18 strategies for sound financial planning. It's something that I use as a regular basis in my practice, and it really helps secure getting the prospect to return for the second visit. It also is a fantastic ending to the first visit. So, in a nutshell, you go through your first fact finder. At the end of the fact finder, you then go through what is called the 18 strategies for sound financial planning. Once you're done with that, then you would book their next visit. Now, why do we do it in that order? Well, by going through these 18 strategies, you are demonstrating to the prospect, look at everything that I can help you with without overwhelming them during that first meeting. But by going through this, you're going to help them identify 6, 8, 10, maybe even 12 areas that they need work on their financial plan. When you do that, it secures or better secures the idea of them coming back for the second visit where now you can present red, blue, green. Now, why is that? Because there's so much power in this form and in what you share with them that they have to come back to see what else that you have to share. Okay, so right now what I want to do is just kind of go through this with you and just point out how I would do this right before booking their second visit on the calendar. So, Bob and Mary, I'd like to share with you this form called the 18 Strategies for Sound Financial Planning. Now, when I do that, if they're across the desk from you, you turn it around so they can read it. You're looking at it upside down. You can also put this on a screen, a television screen, whatever. But if you do that, you want to make sure that you can put a check mark on different spots on the page and then be able to either e-file or print out this page with the check marks on it. Okay? So after I turn it around, I share it with them. I say, now, not all of these 18 areas are something you need help with. Some of these things you've already got down and you're well on your way to everything you need in that area. So let's just go through it real quick. Let's identify the things that would be important to you. Do you hear that? Let's identify the areas or things that would be important to you. And then I'll put a check mark next to each one. So, Bob and Mary, the first one is asset allocation. This is basically making sure that you are properly diversified in your investment portfolio. Now, that's part of the reason you're here today. That's certainly what I'm going to be sharing with you next time we get together. So I'm going to go ahead and put a check mark on there. Fair? They go, that's fair. All right, cash management. Now, this is only if you feel like you're not in good control of your cash flow. Most people are by the time they're at your point in life. So I would assume you don't need that. Would that be correct? Yeah, I don't think we need any help with that. Or you can just say, it's probably not something you need help with, but I wanted to bring it up in case you wanted help with a budget or managing your money. They say, nah, I think we're okay with that. You leave it blank. Next one, debt management. Reviewing your mortgage to see if you can get a better deal. Your credit cards, your student loans, and other secured and unsecured debt, right? Do you have much debt? No, we don't have much debt. Okay, well then we probably don't need to worry about that. Now, number 4, I'm going to go ahead and check that because again, that's what we're doing, right? We're going to be getting together next time and we're going to be going over your entire retirement plan. And this is going to give you a year by year report card that will tell you if you're on track, off track, or ahead of track, right? And if you're ahead of track, how much fun is that? You got extra money to be able to spend. So if it's okay with you, I'm going to check that as something that's important to you. Yes. Retirement income. This is basically saying, hey, how much income can we afford? Or, hey, do we have enough assets that we can get all the income that we've decided we need in retirement? Uh, would it be fair to check that? Yes, go ahead. Education savings. Now, your children are probably all grown. but sometimes grandparents are concerned and they want to be able to put away money for their grandchildren to be able to attend college. Would that be important to you? No, maybe not. You know, okay, other accumulation goals. Now, this is things like you were to say, hey, Kurt, we'd like to eventually have a second home in Florida. We want to buy a really nice 40-foot long diesel pusher motorhome or some kind of a motorhome. We want to put $50,000 into our backyard with a swimming pool. Things that are really big ticket items that you would like to be able to plan for. Do you have anything like that that's on your mind that you'd like me to make sure and keep in mind as I'm creating your plan? Well, I'll tell you what, we've always thought that if we put a built-in swimming pool in our backyard, we'd probably get the grandchildren to come over more. So I think that would be a pretty cool thing. And I would say, have you ever looked into that before? No, never really looked into that before. I'm not sure what it would cost. And then I would say, well, I would plan on at least $50,000. Could be a little bit more, but I think if there was more than that, I'm sure you would have the assets to do it. So would you want me to go ahead and include that? And if so, how far down the road would you like to have that pool in? Would you like it next year, the year after, or the year after that? Well, yeah, let's do it right away. I'd like to do it and have it in by next summer. Okay, great. Check mark, and then I make a note on my fact finder. Okay, tax control. Now, this is basically using tax strategies and emphasizing the importance of achieving diversification in your accounts, both taxable, tax free, and tax deferred. Would that be important to you? Well, yeah, I'd definitely like to control taxes. All right, let's go up to number 9, tax harvesting. Now, this is where maybe at the end of the year, we meet the 1st of November and we would talk about, hey, what can we do over the next 60 days before the end of the year that might get our taxes reduced for this calendar year? Now, I understand some of you listening to this may say, well, I'm not a pro at that. That's okay. Just ask, right? If they say yes, that would be important. You can always bring their CPA in, and now you're building a relationship with the CPA. If you're an advisor who feels very confident in that, then you can do that on your own. But if they say, well, yeah, I'd definitely like to do that, I put a check mark next to it. Now, don't misunderstand me. If they've got assets under management, that's fine. I may do that at no cost because I'm making enough money on their AUM. But if they're a life only client and I don't have it, or I'm a life rep, I don't have a securities license, then I'm going to charge for that. Okay. And I'll leave it up to you what you charge for that. That's your own personal opinion in that. All right. Number 10, life insurance. Now, do you have life insurance? We already talked about your life insurance. You've got you're retired now, so you don't have any through work, and you don't have any anymore. You cashed out all your policies. Would it be important to look at that to make sure that your estate is very liquid to your children and grandchildren, and that you take care of any and all expenses surrounding your life? No, we got enough money. I'm not too worried about life insurance. You leave that blank. Now remember, you're putting a check mark just to the left of the number with your pen or on your TV screen. Somehow you're putting a check mark on there for everything that they say is important to them. Next, disability insurance. You guys are already retired, so I don't think that's important. But imagine, let's say you have a client who comes as a sidebar. Let's say you have a client who comes in, they're 50, they're a doctor, and they intend to work for 15 more years. Well, these are the most prominent income years of their life, and so disability insurance may be important. Typically, they're retired. I just blow by that. Okay. Next, long-term care insurance. Long-term care insurance nowadays, being in any kind of long-term care facility, can cost you at least about $100,000 a year. Would you want to look at finding ways to cover that or protect that? Yeah, no, yes. You're going to have a good idea by what they put on the fact finder on the very first page. Now, property and casualty insurance. You don't deal with it most likely. I never dealt with it, but I always put it on there, and I would tell people, if you would like me to to look at your auto and your homeowners to see if there's some way you might be able to save some money on that. I'd be happy to do so, but I do want to let you know I don't represent property and casualty. So whatever ideas I give you, you'd want to take to your P&C agent. Now, why do I do this? Well, people who come in with auto insurance, and let's say they have $3 million. Well, number one, I want to make sure they have an umbrella policy to cover the $3 million of assets. All right, so that's one thing I'm going to be talking about again, which elevates my credibility. But also, I'm going to look at what their deductibles are. So let's say they have a $100 deductible, and the first question I ask is, when was the last time either of you had an auto accident? And they go, well, we haven't had one in 35 years. Okay, then I'm going to talk to them about changing that deductible up to $500. Why? The amount of money that's going to save them is unbelievable. And again, feather in your cap, and they really think the world of you. Okay. Next, will trust updates. We talked about your will, the fact you have a will, you don't have a trust. Would it be important to you to at least investigate estate planning options to make sure you've covered all your bases and you're avoiding probate and keeping the public out of your affairs? Yeah, we definitely like to dive more into that. Ding, 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 ding. Opportunity for me to connect with an attorney. And by the way, I probably am going to want to have the attorney come to my office, and I'm going to sit with my clients in my office and let the attorney talk to them. Why? Relationship, relationship, relationship with the attorney. Plus, if they're meeting in my office, who's the kingpin? I am. They see me as their quarterback of their total financial life. Okay. So, very important. All right. Number 15, beneficiary updates. Should we have the privilege of serving you, then we're going to make sure that we update all your beneficiaries, not just on the things that we do for you, but if you're interested, we'd be happy to review all your beneficiaries on everything you have, and certainly with everything you put with us. But it's important to make sure that that's correct. So again, you avoid probate. Would that be important to you? Yeah, we'd like to make sure that's up to date. Check mark. Titling of assets. Are your assets all titled properly in order to avoid probate and in order to avoid estate taxes if possible? I can tell you one thing right now. I found one thing that, in my opinion, is not titled correctly. That's your Merrill Lynch statement. I don't have time to get into that today, but I promise you I'll discuss that in our next visit. So I'm going to check that if it's okay with you, because I did find an issue in that regard. Oh, okay. If you found an issue, go ahead and check that. Company benefits. Do you want us to look over your 401k, your SEP plan, et cetera, et cetera? Now, if you're not securities licensed, you cannot give them advice on their 401k plan as far as how it's invested, right? But you could talk to them about how life insurance could be an opportunity for the money that exceeds what the company's matching. You do an index universal life, they end up with tax-free income instead of massive amount of taxable income in their retirement years. It's going to save them thousands of dollars. So, they may say, well, yeah, I don't have anybody helping me with that, so I'd love you to look at that. Again, if you're life only, be very careful not to give advice on investing their money within the 401k. That'd be illegal. Okay, but you could talk about options to the 401k being life insurance. All right, and then finally, gifting. Is it important to you to make sure that you have any gifting set up beyond standard issue? Like, for example, I'd like to gift this my grandson through my son has a cognitive disability, and I'd like to do something special for them. Or you might have 3 children, excuse me, and one of the children, that if they get too much money, it's going to be a problem. And so, you want to gift money to a side account that controls, or a trust account that would control how that money goes to that child. So you kind of explain these things. All right, now you've gone through the 18. You've checked off the boxes. And out of the 18, as I said, about the lowest I get is 6. The highest I get is about 12 of those 18. So what I now do is I say, okay, Bob, Marie, here's how we do this. I'm going to photocopy this right now, and I'm going to give you the original to take home with you. And then I'm going to keep the photocopy because I'm not being presumptuous. Please don't take it that way. But should you decide to someday work with our firm and become a member of our family of clients, then I want you to know that every time you come in for a review, be it annually or whenever, that I'm going to pull this sheet out and we're going to look at the checks, everything that's been checked, and I'm going to say, okay, what's the first thing that you'd like to make sure we clear off the board and uncheck so that you can have peace of mind about these 18 strategies for a sound financial plan. Let's say you come in and say, well, Kurt, we want to make sure that our wills and trust are updated. Great. Then I'm going to set another appointment with you along with your attorney or an attorney I'll recommend if you want one. What I hope you see, guys, is when they see this and they take that sheet home with them, they're going to review that and they're going to be sitting there going, wow, this is really cool. No other advisor we've ever talked to has been this thorough with us. That's a feather in your cap. That is why they're going to come back for there's a better chance, if not a total reliability, that they're going to show up for the second visit or the solutions visit, right? Now, the other reason why you always, always, always want to be doing reviews with clients is because every time you do one of these things, it's either A, going to open up the door to another sale of some kind, or B, it's going to open up the door to a new relationship with another professional that can be referring people to you throughout each year. And C, it's going to get you more referrals. Why? Because they're going to talk to their friends, and the minute a friend says, yeah, this guy, I mean, I'm not even sure he's watching my accounts. I mean, I think he just gives my money to a third party manager and then forgets about me. Well, man, you ought to talk to our guy because we've been with him now for 2 years. And I'll tell you, at 3 years, every time we see him, he brings something new to the table. We just feel so confident in what this person, this gal, this guy is doing for us. It's going to get you more referrals. So I hope this helps you out. And if you look in the portal, the members portal for coaching, you will find this form there and you'll get everything you need. And so, anyway, I wish you all the best. God bless and good hunting for new prospects, new clients. And I'm here for your greater success. Have a great day.